Hello, young algebra students. We are now finishing up chapter 5. We are in section 5-6, and it's all about parallel and perpendicular lines. And what I'd like for you to be able to do by the end of this video is to be able to determine the relationship between two lines by comparing their slopes and y-intercepts. So, what are parallel and perpendicular lines? Parallel lines are lines in the same planes that never intersect. In other words, lines that never touch, while perpendicular lines are lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle. So here we have an example of parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Now there is a special quality about their slopes that is going to help us determine if lines are parallel or perpendicular. Parallel lines have the same slope. Same slope for parallel lines, meaning they go in the same direction. So an example would be y is equal to 3/4 x plus 8. Y is equal to 3/4 x minus 1. Notice how this 3/4 and this 3/4 match. They have the same slope. Okay, let me actually box in same slope for you as well. We also have perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines intersect at a 90-degree angle, like I said, and how do their slopes relate? Their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Opposite reciprocals are like this. If I have 3/4, the opposite reciprocal is -4/3. Notice I flip the fraction and I make the sign opposite. If it is -2/5, then it becomes +5/2. I make the fraction flip over and I change the sign. If it were 1/6, then it becomes -6/1 or -6. Both of those would be appropriate. So opposite reciprocals for perpendicular lines, same slope for parallel. So now we're going to write some equations of lines using this information. It says so for example 1, it says write an equation of the line that passes through the point 12, 5 and is parallel to the graph of y is equal to 2/3 x minus 1. It wants us to write it in point slope and slope intercept. Well, if it's parallel to this guy, then I need a slope of 2/3. So now I know two things about my line. I know m is equal to 2/3, and I know my point is equal to 12, 5. I'm now going to input these two things into my point slope formula first, because that's going to be the easier one to start with. So I have y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. Y minus y sub 1. So y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 parentheses x minus 12. This is in point slope form. I've got it taken care of. I also want it in slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this form and I am going to rewrite it. So I'll rewrite over here just so I can start working with it. And we've talked about converting point slope to slope intercept before. I'm going to first get rid of my parentheses. So now I'm at y minus 5 is equal to 2/3 x minus 8. And then I'm going to get rid of this minus 5 by adding it to the left and right sides. And I have y is equal to 2/3 x minus 3. And that's my solution. Let's do that again. Write an equation of a line that passes through the points -3, -1, and is parallel parallel to the graph of y equals 2x plus 3. We want to write it in point slope form and slope intercept. So if I want it to be parallel, it needs to have the same slope. So my slope is going to be 2, and my point is going to equal -3, -1. Well, I need it in point slope, which is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. And slope intercept is y equals mx plus b. I'm going to start with this form because I have a point and a slope, so it'll be easier for me to start with this. So I am at y plus 1. I'm saying plus because it's minus a negative, so I'm just automatically changing it to a plus, is equal to 2 parentheses x plus 3. That's point slope. Now I need to take that and convert it to slope intercept. So I'm going to rewrite it just so I can do my calculations easily. My first step to get it into slope intercept form is to distribute the 2. So I have y plus 1 is equal to 2x plus 6. I want to subtract 1 from both sides. I get y is equal to 2x plus 5. These two equations are the same line. There's no difference other than the form that they are written in. Each of them has their pros and their cons to what we can do with them, but I just want to let you know this is the same line. There's no difference in what you would get when you graph them. Okay, let's do that same exact concept, except now we're going to do perpendicular lines. So it says write an equation that represents the line that passes through the point 2, 4 and is perpendicular to the graph y equals 1/3 x minus 1. We need to write our answer in point slope and slope intercept. Okay, so let's identify our point and our slope. M is going to equal what? And our point is going to equal what? Well, our point is 2, 4. That's easy. M is the opposite reciprocal because it's perpendicular. So I have to take 1/3 and flip it upside down. So then that becomes 3/1. Then I need to make that the opposite sign so it becomes -3. I have my slope, I have my point. I'm ready to put this into point slope form. So that is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1. So let's plug this in. Y minus 4, this is my y sub 1, so I'm putting it right here, is equal to m, or -3, parentheses x minus 2. That minus sign got kind of crazy, so I'll try to do it like that. Make my 2 longer. Okay. Let's write this again over here so then we can rearrange it to look like the form y equals mx plus b. So I have y minus 4 is equal to -3 parentheses x minus 2. The 2 steps that I need to follow to switch something into slope intercept form is first distribute the parentheses, then solve for y. So I'm going to multiply my -3 out. I have y minus 4 is equal to -3x plus 6, because a negative times a negative. Then I'm going to add 4 to either side, and I get y is equal to -3x plus 10. All right, moving on to this next one. We're doing the same exact thing. It says write an equation that represents the line that passes through the point -3, 5 and is perpendicular to the graph y equals -x plus 7. We want to write it in point slope and slope intercept form. We need to know our slope and we need to know our point. Our point is easy. It's given to us, -3, 5. What is our slope? Well, if you don't know the number here, it's an invisible 1. So right now, I'm at -1/1 for my slope, and I need to turn it into the opposite reciprocal, which will be +1. So my slope is going to be 1. Now let's get that into point slope and slope intercept form. So I have y minus y sub 1 is equal to m parentheses x minus x sub 1, close parentheses, and y equals mx plus b. I'm taking these three values and I'm sticking them into my point slope formula first because this is the easier one to start with. So I have y minus 5 is equal to 1, x plus 3. I'm saying plus 3 because in my formula it's a minus and x sub 1 is a negative, so minus a negative is a positive. All right, so there's my point slope form. Let's turn it into slope-intercept now. So y minus 5 is equal to 1. There we go. I want to distribute my parentheses first. So I have y minus 5 is equal to x plus 3. Then I'm going to add 5 to both sides because I want the y to be entirely alone. And now I have y is equal to x plus 8. For the last examples, all we're doing is determining if these lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. You do not have to graph them. Just look at the slopes. Just, look at the slopes. That's all we got to do. So in this first example, I have y is equal to x plus 2 and y is equal to x minus 1. Well, on this one, the slope is 1, and on this one, the slope is 1. They have the same slope. 1 and 1 is the same number, so that means they are parallel. For this one, I have y is equal to negative 3x plus 2, and negative 3x minus y is equal to 4. Here's the issue. This guy, the m is equal to negative 3. This one, I don't know the slope yet. It's not written in a form like y equals mx plus b. So let's convert this to y equals mx plus b real fast. I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So that gets me negative y is equal to 3x plus 4. I don't want negative y, I want positive y, so I'm going to divide by 1 everywhere, and I get y is equal to negative 3x minus 4. Now I want you to take note. This negative 3 right here and this negative 3 right here are the slopes. They match. Because they match, they are parallel. For this equation, I have it in point slope form. So the slope of this one is 3/4. And this one is in slope-intercept, and it is negative 4/3. Well, notice how 3/4, and I can write it underneath, m is equal to 3/4, m is equal to negative 4/3. 3/4 flipped upside down is 4/3, and the positive became a negative. So these are opposite reciprocals, which means this is perpendicular. Let's use that strategy again up here. My slope is easy to find on this one. It's 3/2. This guy needs to be rewritten in a way that I can easily see my slope. So the easiest one to do is just slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. That gets me 6y is equal to negative 4x plus 10. Then I'm going to divide by 6 everywhere, and I get y is equal to, this 6 has to be divided everywhere, so this becomes negative 2/3 x plus 5/3. Now, notice this negative 2/3 compared to this 3/2. Negative 2/3 flipped upside down is 3/2. And the negative became a positive. So they are opposite reciprocals, which means these guys are perpendicular. Here I have x equals 0 and x equals negative 4. Okay, if you remember correctly, x equals a number is a vertical line. If two lines are perfectly vertical, then they're going to automatically be parallel to each other. Forgot to box in the answer for that previous one. Okay, finally, I need to know the slopes of these two equations. Neither of them are written in a way that I can easily tell the slope. So I want to convert both of them into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides on the first one. That gets me 3y is equal to negative 5x plus 9. This 3 should not be with the y. I need it to go away, so I'm going to divide by 3 everywhere. Y is then going to equal negative 5/3 x plus 3. Okay, so let me just kind of... So there's my first equation that I can easily see, and here is my slope of negative 5/3. All right, let's do this one. I'm going to add 15x to both sides because I'm trying to get the y alone, so then that gets me 9y is equal to 15x plus 3. This 9 cannot be with the y because I need the y to be alone if it's going to be in the form y equals mx plus b. So I divide by 9 on the left and the right, and I get y is equal to, now I'm going to reduce this so I have 15x over 9, which becomes 5 over 3x, plus 3 over 9, or 1 over 3. Okay, so there's my second equation, written down into slope-intercept form. This one's slope is 5 over 3. These are not the same slope. This is a negative and this is a positive, so they are not going to be parallel. They also are not opposite reciprocals. This one's negative and this one's positive, yes, but this one is not flipped upside down. If it said 3 over 5, then that would be different. But because these do not fall under the parallel rules or the perpendicular rules, this is going to be neither. They just intersect at some random angle. And that's all for today. So the main takeaway I want you to have are these two pieces of information right here. Parallel lines have the same slope, perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals. That's all for today. I hope you have a good night. Bye.